Alright, good evening everybody. It's your boy Akeem from Pro Football Exclusive, here to give you my second preview for the 2014 college football season. Now for today, I'm here to talk about the Big Ten Conference. And what an impressive year we saw last season, especially for the Michigan State Spartans, winning the Big Ten Championship and outplaying Stanford in last season's Rose Bowl, becoming the Rose Bowl champions. But hopefully this year they can repeat what they did last season and possibly even make it to the national championship. Now the last time a Big Ten champion won the national championship was back in 2002 when the Miami Hurricanes was down by the Ohio State Buckeyes, and now the Big Ten Conference is looking to get back and to become a national champion and have a national champion represent from the Big Ten Conference. Now entering this season, I really have just two headlines for you guys. Starting with Penn State, they have a new head coach and James Franklin from Vanderbilt. Now he's definitely a enthusiastic coach, and definitely has been hyping up the team over this off season, and hopefully he could probably pull off some major upsets and ruin some seasons for Penn State in the Big Ten Conference. And Penn State is still suspended due to the issues back and years ago with Jerry Sandusky case, and they're still dealing with the losses and not be able to make it to a Big Ten championship or even a bowl game. But James Franklin and company is definitely to look forward in ruining seasons for other teams in the conference. Second headline, we have two new teams in this conference, Rutgers Scarlet Knights as well as the Maryland Terrapins. They're new teams, and they're actually going to be representing the Big Ten East Division. Speaking of the East Division, there's now two names of the divisions. It's now the Big Ten East and the Big Ten West, as opposed to the Legends and Leaders divisions. There are now the West and East divisions, which are great. Finally, things that making a little bit more sense, and I think the competition is well in both divisions. Now let's talk about a couple of impact players for you guys. Starting with my number one player, Braxton Miller from the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now he definitely had a great season last season, over 2,000 yards passing, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, to go along with over 1,000 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. Now I believe if he has over 2,500 yards passing this season and over 1,000 yards rushing as well as 40 total touchdowns, he definitely will get an invite to New York for this year's Heisman. Second player, Melvin Gordon out of the Wisconsin Badgers. Now he was actually second in the Big Ten rushing last season with 1,609 yards rushing, despite the fact that he's been splitting carries with James Wright, who rushed for 1,444 yards, and he didn't really play too much in the second half of the season. But now he's the number one back. James White is no longer with the team, and all the ball will definitely be in the hands a lot more often towards Melvin Gordon, and I think he has a chance to rush over 2,000 yards this season, at least 1,800 yards. Next player, another running back, Amir Abdullah out of Nebraska Cornhuskers. He's actually my number one NFL running back prospect for 2015 right now as of today. I think he's a great back, good size, 195 pounds at 5'9", shorter, lower to the ground, lower center of gravity, and he definitely could catch the ball outside of the backfield. 237 yards receiving last season to go along with 1,690 yards rushing. He had a great year, led the Big Ten in rushing, and hopefully he could lead the Big Ten again. Another running back for you guys, Jeremy Langford out of the Michigan State Spartans. He had a great year last season, rushed for over 1,400 yards, and despite the fact that he missed, he actually did not start for the first month of the Big Ten of his season last season, he still led the conference in carries with 291 rushes, and he had over 1,400 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, and he is definitely a workhorse, just like Le'Veon Bell. Both these two players can wear defenses down, and the Michigan State Spartans and Mark D'Antonio is looking forward to giving him the ball more often this season, and still wreak havoc and even brutalizing defenses with his bruising type of running play. He's a good running back. Last but not least, and finally a defensive player, Randy Gregory out of Nebraska, 64 tackles and led the Big Ten with 10.5 sacks last season. I think he's definitely on a run for Defensive Player of the Year of the Big Ten Conference. Hopefully get Nebraska to the Big Ten Championship and possibly win a Big Ten Championship overall. Breakout performance for 2014 in the Big Ten Conference. Start with Michigan State quarterback Connor Cook. Now he had a pretty good year last season, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,755 yards passing, and hopefully he's going to be a much bigger role to impress NFL scouts. Possibly again, if he wins another Big Ten Championship and have a good season, that would definitely wow NFL scouts. Now even though in my opinion Jeremy Langford, his teammate running back, he's It should be the vocal point of the offense for Mark D'Antonio's offense. Connor Cook is definitely going to have to step up at quarterback, and he's looking to step up to impress these NFL scouts. Second player, Wes Lunt. He's a transfer from Oklahoma State. He's now playing with the Fighting Illini of Illinois, and I'm really looking forward to see his performance this season. I think he could be due for a breakout season because he's been dealing with a lot of quarterback controversy at Oklahoma State, which actually made him have the decision to transfer to Illinois, and he's definitely going to be that starting quarterback for the Fighting Illini. Next player to talk about, another quarterback, Christian Hackenberg out of Penn State. Now, he had an impressive true freshman season, just under 3,000 yards passing to go along with 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I think he could be due for another big season and even ruin some teams in the Big Ten Conference with his play. Hopefully, he can pull some upsets. Another player, two players in particular who are actually impact players, but I think because of the injuries that they had last season, I think they're going to have good comeback years, starting with Stephon Diggs out of Maryland. 587 yards on receiving last season. He missed the remaining games of the season after the first 7 games of the year due to a broken leg. I think he could be due great for a comeback season, as well as Northwestern's Venwick Mark. Now, he's definitely a freakish player. He actually is clocked in a 4.32 40. He's a speedster. Now, he missed most of the season due to ankle and leg injuries, but he's back for his 5th season, and possibly he could pull some upsets and be a sleeper and help Northwestern be a sleeper in the Big Ten Conference. Next player I need to talk about, another running back, Tevin Coleman out of Indiana. He rushed for just under 1,000 yards last season, 7.3 yards per carry. Now, I do see the potential with this particular running back. Hopefully, he can be another star running back from back in the day for the Hoosiers when they had Anthony Thompson as well as Von Dunbar. Hopefully, he could rush for over 1,500 yards this season, but this is going to be a tough year for the Hoosiers. For over recent years, Indiana has struggled in the Big Ten Conference in football as opposed to basketball. But I think with Coleman as well as his quarterback and Nate Sudfeld, I think he had a decent season with 21 touchdown passes. I think that Coleman could be due for a good year. Hopefully, he could reach over 1,500 yards and be another star running back for the Hoosiers, just like Anthony Thompson as well as Von Dunbar. Going headed over to the defense, I actually have one more offensive player, Devin Futches out of Michigan. Now, as a tight end, he actually had 787 yards receiving last season, but for this year, he's actually going to have to make the transition to wide receiver, and I think this is a big thing for him, and this could be due for a great breakout year. Jeremy Gallen, he's actually no longer with the team. He is now a New England Patriots. This is definitely Devin's chance to be that top target for the Michigan Wolverines. Now, I'm going to head over to the defensive side. Noah Spence out of The Ohio State, 51 tackles and 8 sacks. Hopefully, he could be that premier pass rusher, and it works well in the line of scrimmage and disrupting the line of scrimmage and even get behind the backfield. I think he's a good player. I think he could be due for a breakout season. One particular player at linebacker that I do like, I think he's a smart player out of Maryland, Cole Ferran. He actually had 84 tackles last season, and 23 of those tackles was in the game against Clemson. He's a smart player, and I think he could be due for over 100 tackles this season, a breakthrough performer. And another player that I've been mentioning for over the past couple of seasons, Jake Ryan out of Michigan. Now, he's still the heart and soul of that defense. A lot of people like myself depend on this particular player, but he has been plagued with injuries, and that has been ruining his career. He's definitely a beast, a workaholic, and a true great defenseman and a great leader on the defensive side. I think he's going to have a great comeback season. He just needs to stay healthy. I think he could be a good late round prospect for the 2015 NFL Draft. And last but not least, Curtis Drummond out of Michigan State. He had 4 interceptions last season for the Spartans, and he's going to have to be that leader to replace Darqueze Dennard, who's no longer with the team. He's now in the National Football League, so this means that Drummond's going to have to step it up and be that true leader in the secondary and hopefully get that defense back in with how well they performed last season. Now, I have a couple of freshmen I need to talk about headed toward this year. Some impact freshmen for you guys, some fabulous freshmen. Starting with the number 2 overall recruit according to the ESPN 300, Jabril Peppers. Now, he's actually from Paramus, New Jersey. He was the number 2 recruit, and he is already compared to Charles Woodson, and some people believe that he will be the savior for Michigan Wolverines, and I think this is an excellent pickup, and this is the biggest pickup for Michigan for the past couple of seasons. He's already compared to Charles Woodson. Hopefully, he can live up to expectations, and a lot of people already consider him as a villain in the Big Ten Conference because of all the hype that he's been getting headed towards this season as a true freshman. Next player I need to talk about, Galen Robinson for Purdue. Now the name sounds pretty familiar. He's actually the son of of Glenn Big Dog Robinson from the Purdue Boilermakers basketball team. Now he's basically kind of following his father's footsteps, sort of, but he's actually following his father's footsteps, going to the same school, but for the different sport. Now he's actually expected to play an outside linebacker, and he would definitely have plenty of opportunities this upcoming year. Next freshman we need to talk about, another defenseman, Raekwon McMillan, out of the Ohio State University. Now he weighs 240 pounds, and he's already bigger than all but one of the 10 linebackers that the Buckeyes have, and this is definitely a great pickup as a true freshman. And I believe that Urban Meyer will be a dumb idiot if he decides not to go to start this player right away at middle linebacker. He's actually the #1 inside linebacker coming out of high school for 2014. Next player I need to talk about for Maryland, Damian Prince out of Forestville. Now due to a recent suspension, a potential starter in Moise LaRose, he's actually going to be suspended for some of the games this season. This is a great opportunity to Prince to step up and be that starting tackle for the Terrapins. Next player I need to talk about, and last but not least, a wide receiver from Penn State, DeAndre Tompkins. Now he might redshirt this season, but I do not believe he should redshirt. He actually is an early enrollee, and he's actually already provide great speed, and he's actually already written down as the fastest player on the Penn State roster already as a true freshman. And because of the lack of scholarships that Penn State has due to the issues years ago, I think that this is a great opportunity for Tompkins to start as a true freshman, and I don't think it's a good idea for him to redshirt because of the lack of scholarships, and other players, good star players, could still go to Penn State. This is his time to shine, and especially with Allen Robinson no longer with the team, Tompkins could be that leading receiver as a true freshman. He has a great opportunity. Now I have a couple of games I need to talk about for you guys, some major impact games for you guys to watch this upcoming season. Starting with September 27th, Illinois is actually playing at Nebraska. That's going to be a big game. October 4th, Nebraska is going to be playing at Michigan State. October 25th, Michigan's going to be playing at Michigan State. And also November 8th, Ohio State's going to be playing at Michigan State. So Michigan State has a great home field advantages against these great opponents. These are going to be some impact games, particularly in the East Division, because of Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan are actually on the East Division of the Big Ten Conference. And also November 15th, Nebraska is going to be playing at Wisconsin. This game can determine the Western Division of the Big Ten Conference. November 29th, Michigan is going to be playing at Ohio State. That's the biggest rivalry in college football. In my personal opinion, that is still a big game to watch, particularly even in the Big Ten East Division. On that same day, Nebraska is going to be playing, Wisconsin is going to be hosting Minnesota, and I think that Minnesota could pull off the upset with that matchup. And last but not least, every particular game in which involves Penn State. That is a very important game because, like I said, Penn State is actually not going to be scheduled to play allowed to play in the Big Ten Championship nor a bowl game. So they're looking to ruin a couple of team seasons, particularly three particular games. October 11th, Penn State's going to be playing at Michigan. October 25th, Ohio State's going to be playing at Penn State. And on the 29th of November, Michigan State's going to be playing at Penn State. So Penn State's definitely going to be looking forward to pulling off some upsets and ruining some seasons for these teams in the Big Ten Conference, but we will see. Now I'm going to give you some end of the year awards as well as my prediction of the winner of the Big Ten Conference as well as my sleeper. Coach of the year, I'm going to actually go with Bo Pelini out of Nebraska. I think Nebraska can turn things around. They actually finished, I believe, 8-4 last season, barely missing the Big Ten Championship. I think making it to the Big Ten Championship. I think this is a great quality team, particularly on the defensive side, but Randy Gregory is going to have to step it up this year and have another great year to lead that defense, and I think that this is a good opportunity for Bo Pelini just to turn things around. If they make it, if the Nebraska Cornhuskers make it to the Big Ten Championship, I think Pelini should win Coach of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to have to go with DeAndre Tompkins out of Penn State because of the opportunity he has and to replace Allen Robinson. Defensive Rookie of the Year, this is a no-brainer for me, Jabril Peppers out of Michigan, because of all the hype that he's been getting, especially with this offseason as the #2 recruit, and he's definitely a physical specimen at 6'1", 208 pounds as a true freshman. He still has time to grow even bigger and be a freak at the cornerback position and even possibly play the safety position. I think because of that, I think he has a great opportunity to become the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive MVP, I'm going to go with Braxton Miller out of Ohio State Buckeyes. I think he's going to have a great season, and I believe that he should make it to New York for a Heisman ceremony at the end of the year. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Randy Gregory out of Nebraska. I think he's going to be due for a good season, another 10-plus sack season, and well over 60 tackles this year. I think he'll become a late prospect for the 2015 NFL Draft. Now, the winner of the Big Ten Conference, well, actually, I'm going to start off with my sleeper of the Big Ten Conference. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Gophers. That's why I mentioned them as one of the impact games on November 29th. Minnesota's going to be playing at Wisconsin. Now, last season, they went 8-5 last year, and because of the little bit of a weaker Western Division of the Big Ten Conference, the two teams they really only have to worry about is Nebraska and Wisconsin. And then I think if they pull a split victory between the two teams, split off the games, I think they can have a chance to make it to the Big Ten Championship. And if they make it to the Big Ten Championship, that means they have a chance of winning the Big Ten Championship. And that's why I have them as the sleepers this year. Now, my winners this year for the Big Ten Championship, I'm going to have to go with the Ohio State Buckeyes representing the Eastern Division over Nebraska representing the Western Division. But this is going to be a close race. I know a lot of people is going to disagree with me on this one, but I'm still scared of Michigan State. Now, the reason why I'm not going with Michigan State is because their defense is going to have to replace three key players. Max Burlow, their linebacker, another great linebacker who could play safety, Denikos Allen, as well as Darquez Denard. But Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator for Michigan State, he has a genius mind, and if they make it back to the Big Ten Championship with another defensive year, Michigan State is definitely going to lose Narduzzi as their defensive coordinator. He's definitely going to be a head coach for a team in college football. He's definitely going to get that opportunity to become a head coach and leave Michigan State. But right as of today, I'm going to have to go with Ohio State over Nebraska to win the Big Ten Championship. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be on Tuesday, where I will give you a preview of the Pac-12 Conference. Thank you for watching today's blog. From Pro Football Exclusive, I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.